Listen, we know how politics work, right? It's dirty. It's a dirty business. Trump's going to go after Biden. Biden's going to go after Trump. But is there anything that's really sticking when it comes to Donald Trump? Well, let me explain. Biden said earlier this week that the African-American community is not a diverse community. It was during a virtual event with the National Association of Black Journalists and the National Association of Hispanic Journalists. So I want you to have a listen to this, and then I will give you my commentary on it. Here it is.
Yes, and by the way, what you all know, but most people don't know, unlike the African-American community, with notable exceptions, the Latino community is an incredibly diverse community with incredibly different attitudes about different things.
Now, of course, the Trump supporters, the Trump administration, they're all going after Joe Biden for making those comments. Just like they went after Joe Biden and it didn't stick when they say that Joe Biden used the N-word when he was quoting somebody else in a transcript and actually attacking that person for using the N-word in his language. So that doesn't stick. When something doesn't stick, they move on to something else. So here's what Joe Biden was talking about. He was talking about ideological diversity among the black community. And by the way, I agree with him. The majority of black people in this country vote Democrat. That is obvious. That is a fact. Just look it up. That's what Joe Biden was talking about. Biden's campaign agrees. They said the comment was meant to describe the diversity of political opinion among Latino Americans and was not a judgment on culture diversity. Simone Sanders is a spokesperson for Vice President Trump in the campaign, and she said, if you look at the full video and transcript, it's clear that Vice President Biden was referring to diversity of attitudes among Latinos from different Latin American countries. She also went on to say in a statement, the video that is circulating is conveniently cut to make this about racial diversity, but that's not the case. That's exactly what Joe Biden was talking about. I watched the whole statement. He was talking about ideological diversity. Nothing wrong with what Joe Biden said. Nothing. But people want to paint, I shouldn't say people, right-wing nut jobs want to paint Joe Biden as a racist. They want to paint Joe Biden as this guy who doesn't care about black people. Let me remind you, ladies and gentlemen, just in case some of you forgot, Joe Biden was the vice president of the United States under the first black president for 8 years. Remember when they used that N-word against Joe Biden? Joe Biden has never used the N-word in a derogatory fashion. He was quoting a transcript of somebody that he was criticizing. But they want to paint it out to be, oh, Joe Biden used the N-word. Joe Biden used the N-word. It's just not true. And then there are people out there that want to paint Joe Biden as a pedophile. I talk to these people all the time. It's unbelievable. Has Joe Biden been a little touchy-feely at times? Yes. Has he been a little inappropriate at times? Yes. He stopped doing that. I'm glad he stopped doing that. But a pedophile? Are you kidding me? And what about the comment earlier this week when I believe it was a black commentator who asked Joe Biden about taking a cognitive test? Do we remember that? And that could be a little insulting to somebody. What? Because I'm in my mid-70s, you think I need a cognitive test? And Joe Biden got a little upset at that. I don't blame him for doing that. And then he responded by saying, that's like me saying, are you a junkie? That had absolutely nothing to do with the color of this guy's skin. That was Joe Biden saying, you're saying something offensive to me. If I asked you if you were a junkie, you would probably be offended by that. Doesn't mean Joe Biden's a racist. Doesn't mean that had anything to do with the color of the guy's skin. But this is what people are doing. This is what they are doing. And again, if you really want to dig down deep and you really want to go through the history of Joe Biden and you want to go through the history of Donald Trump when it comes to race and race relations and who has said inappropriate, racist things, Donald Trump wins that one, ladies and gentlemen. He just does. He's openly admitted to saying he didn't want black people counting his money in his casinos. Then he wanted people wearing yarmulkes counting his money. He's admitted to saying that. Do I have to talk about the Central Park Five? Do I have to do that? What about the 1997 Playboy interview where he admitted to saying some atrocious things? What about some of his hotels and some of his businesses that had to pay out African Americans for prejudices? I mean, listen, the list could go on and on. I could do 3 hours every day to talk about the horrible things that Donald Trump has said in his career. I'm not going to do that. All I'm simply saying is if you're one of those people out there that want to paint Joe Biden into this racist, when he was talking about ideological diversity, you're wrong. You're just simply wrong. And it's not going to stick. Just like when you call Joe Biden a pedophile, it's not going to stick. Just like earlier in the week when they were saying, oh, my God, he called an African-American a junkie. No, he didn't. That's not what he said. And the color of this guy's skin had absolutely nothing to do with the conversation. 8 years under President Barack Obama, the first black president. Let me tell you something. If you're one of those Trump supporters that wants to paint Joe Biden as a racist, and you're a supporter of Donald Trump, again, I talk about credibility on this show all the time. You have zero credibility. I don't want to hear it. 9-6, we're talking about Joe Biden's comments about the African-American community not being as diverse when it comes to ideological diversity and voting. He's absolutely right. But, oh, my God, let's all go up in arms if you're a Donald Trump supporter, and let's call Joe Biden a racist. He's talking about ideological diversity if you listen to the whole clip, and it is completely absurd and outrageous. All right, what do you guys think out there? Am I wrong on this? Do you think Joe Biden was wrong? Do you think Joe Biden's a racist? Do you think we should call out Joe Biden here?